featuring an explosive offense with weapons all over the field.
Hollywood Brown, Anderson sprinting, touchdown!
Led by the most dynamic player in college football.
The magic of Mayfield.
Who's poised to be the first player ever to walk on and then win a Heisman Trophy. For TCU, there's pride at stake.
We don't have another day. We don't have another second. We don't got another minute to waste.
A chance to avenge an early loss and an opportunity for one of the best defenses in the country to prove their worth. For one side, a playoff berth is on the line, and the other want nothing more than to spoil it.
Mayfield to throw it.
Touchdown, Sooners!
A showdown in Arlington. TCU, Oklahoma, the Big 12 Championship.
From Arlington, Texas, welcome to the 2017 Big 12 Championship on Fox, presented by AT&T. For the first time in 7 years, there's a Big 12 title game, and this one pits the 11th-ranked Horned Frogs and the Sooners at number 3, perhaps on the verge of the college football playoff. Welcome inside. Joe Davis with Brady Quinn. You know, the Horned Frogs started this season unranked. They were a bit of a surprise, sitting at 10-2 to get to this championship game. For Oklahoma, different coach, but same story. Lincoln Riley steps in, and behind the Heisman frontrunner at quarterback, they sit at 11-1.
He's been the best player this season in college football at the most important position. He leads the country in touchdown passes, completion percentage, and ratings. And what makes him so successful is his uncanny ability to buy time in the pocket while still keeping his eyes downfield to make the big play. Oklahoma leads the country in big plays this season. That's why their offense has been so dynamic, and that's why they're playing this matchup today. And look, Baker Mayfield, he's a very interesting cat. Look, he's an edgy player. He plays with a lot of attitude, but this team plays off of his attitude and his edginess. That's why they're playing in the Big 12 Championship once again.
When you think of the Horned Frogs, you think defense, right? No different with this edition. Gary Patterson has one of the nation's best once again.
And it's a complicated defensive scheme. A mix of coverages, defensive fronts, and pressures. They lead the Big 12 in sacks this year. And really, with the exception of their game versus Oklahoma earlier this year, they've been the top defense in the conference. And when you look at some of the struggles that they've had in that game up in Norman, Oklahoma, it's been stopping the gap running schemes. TCU didn't do enough putting guys on that side of the line of scrimmage to be able to fill some of the run gaps, and you can see it's a clear running game to the end zone. It started with the power run there, and they come back later on in the game with the counter schemes. And it's incredibly difficult to stop, but they've had enough time to kind of make these adjustments, and it's going to come down to whether or not TCU has made enough adjustments and if they can execute it in today's Big 12 championship game.
Ranked number 11, these are the TCU Horned Frogs. Number 3 in the country. These are the Oklahoma Sooners. And so for the second time in less than a month, it's Oklahoma and TCU. And on the field, it's Bruce Feldman.
Joe, in the first meeting between these teams, there were a lot of extracurriculars, including in the pregame when Baker Mayfield pegged TCU safety Nico Small on the head with a pass. Small ended up missing the next 2 games with a concussion, and Gary Patterson told us, I'm not sure if it caused it. Then again, I'm not sure that it didn't cause it. Lincoln Riley also inflamed Patterson a little bit with his explanation of that Mayfield throw, saying when you run through another team's warm-up line, things like that can happen. When we talked to Lincoln yesterday, he goes, you know, I probably shouldn't have said anything in the media about it. Gary knows I respect him, and he knows I respect his team. Now over to the TCU Horned Frogs with Petros Papadakis.
Bruce, we don't have any fireworks in the pregame so far today, but there were fireworks last week, and that's why Nick Orr, the safety, is not starting this game. Multiple punches thrown against Baylor. He is out so far. We'll see him on the field. Joe?
All right, boys, we're ready to go. TCU won the toss, deferred to the second half, so right away we get to see strength against strength with the Oklahoma offense and the TCU defense. It's the Big 12 championship game for the first time in 7 years. TCU, Oklahoma, off we go. Arcelia Sutton takes a knee, and the Sooners just start at the 25-yard line with Baker Mayfield, one of the all-time great college football players, leading the way.
He's been absolutely phenomenal this season, and I think you kind of thought to yourself at the beginning of the year, how would he be able to reload after losing D.D. Westbrook, Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine? No, it's just the same old Baker Mayfield. He's been phenomenal. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks I've ever seen at any level.
One of the nation's top offenses, scoring 45 points per game, loaded at the skill spots, dominant up front, and the Heisman favorite at quarterback.
The thing I'm most curious to see is what adjustments does TCU make after they got beat down by Oklahoma up in Norman just a month ago.
Rodney Anderson has exploded over the second half of the season. No player in Power 5 conferences has had more yards than Rodney Anderson over the last 6 games, and a guy who played in just 2 games over his first 2 years. On second down, Mayfield to throw for the first time. Lets it fly from Mark Andrews, and it's third down. With a defense from Traven Howard, Mayfield sailing his tight end, 3rd and 7.
And what coverage by Traven Howard. He plays linebacker. How many linebackers can run down the middle of the field and essentially play the deep middle of the field like he did on that last play? And third down, this is the down. I'm curious to see how much pressure Gary Patterson will bring versus Baker Mayfield. He is the best quarterback in the country versus the blitz.
On 3rd and 7, TCU doesn't show any pressure, and they bring only 4. On the speed out, Michael Jones has it for an Oklahoma first down. Stop made by Ridwan Issahaku, and Oklahoma is able to convert on 3rd and 7.
What impresses me most about Baker Mayfield is he really has it all. You know, he can play from the pocket, he can throw accurate on the outside on time, or he can make the big play by scrambling around and buying time.
Back-to-back first down runs. This one goes for 3 or 4. Matt Boson making the tackle. And one of Rodney Anderson's biggest games during the second half of the season came against these Horned Frogs. 4 first-half touchdowns and 290 total yards. He swings out of the backfield on second down. Mayfield scans the field and drills one for Andrews, and a first down at midfield. Mark Andrews, the Mackey Award finalist.
And just watch Mayfield's eyes. He's going to look to the left. He wanted CeeDee Lamb, didn't have him. Steps up, buys time. He finds his tight end over the middle. Look at his eyes. Off balance, still an accurate football. Allows Mark Andrews to get the first down.
And his 52nd catch of the year to lead the Sooners. On the 10th play of the opening drive for the Sooners, Mayfield looks short side, gets through his progression, zips one behind Marquise Brown, and it's 2nd and 10. Riley, the youngest FBS coach in the country at 34 years old, and the youngest coach to take a team to any conference championship game.
Yeah, and look, he kind of fell into a good situation. Obviously, what Bob Stoops has built at Oklahoma has been tremendous, but that doesn't make it easy. And there's a lot of pressure on you. You got to hold yourself up to that standard, and Lincoln Riley has done that this year.
First time since 1998 somebody other than Bob Stoops roamed those Oklahoma sidelines, and Lincoln Riley's done a great job following it. Out of the pistol on second down. Here's Brown. Gets a block. Marquise Brown shifts his way into open space and stumbles back. You know, he was close to the first down marker, but then went backwards, and it'll be 3rd down and about 3.
That's the risk you take whenever you kind of see more green grass or more field and try to make a move by backtracking. But once again, timely play call. Oklahoma throws the screen against TCU, trying to bring a field pressure. Again, very similar to what we saw Texas do versus Oklahoma earlier this year.
Gary Patterson thought that TCU played on its heels in the first half in Norman and then shut Oklahoma out in the second half, bringing a lot of heat. A little bit more like that on this drive.
Got one-on-one coverage up top with his tight end.
On 3rd and 3, they only rushed 4. So Mayfield has time. That one's knocked down by Ty Summers. The junior linebacker from San Antonio makes it another 4th down, and the field goal team comes out.
We're going to see Mark Andrew. He's going to release upfield, and basically they end up almost working a little double coverage on him. See how Ty Summers, he knows he's trying to work to him. You see Markel Simmons as well. It's a tough window to try to throw in, and TCU doing what they do best, getting off the field on 3rd down.
It brings on Seibert, who will attempt it from 41 yards. The junior out of Belleville, Illinois, has nailed 12 in a row, and Oklahoma has points on its opening drive. Kenny Hill and the TCU offense to the field for the first time in this Big 12 championship game when you come back. Back at AT&T Stadium, Oklahoma settles for a field goal on its opening drive, and now the Horned Frogs get ready to touch it for the first time, with one of the best return men in the country in Cavante Turpin waiting back. Oklahoma has a weapon in Seibert, one of the highest touchback percentages you'll find in college football, on display to limit Turpin here. And so here comes the TCU offense, and Kenny Hill, the senior from South Lake Carroll, right here in Texas.
Yeah, and a dramatic improvement from last year to this year. And he really just has improved over the course of his career, starting from Texas A&M to now at TCU. I think the thing that you're seeing most is he battles back from adversity. It's been kind of a roller coaster year in regards to him having some great games and following it up with an average game at best. But it's the times when he struggles in games, you see him still come back and respond later on.
First time around against Oklahoma was below 50% through the air for 270 yards.
But last week, one of his best games of the season versus Baylor, so hopefully he can carry that momentum into today.
That was after he missed the Texas Tech game with an injury. Threw for 325 and 3 touchdowns against the Bears. TCU starts its day with a Kyle Hicks run. Nowhere to go, and the ball comes out. Scooped up and taken into the end zone for a touchdown. Scoop and score, Caleb Kelly. Disastrous start, TCU.
Let's take another look. This seemed pretty definitive that the ball was out before Hicks was down. You can see right there, Amani Bledsoe able to get that big paw in on the football. And there's Caleb Kelly. Take it to the house.
Now, this has been one of the strengths of this TCU offense, taking care of the ball. It turned it over just one time over the last 4 games. One of their 2 losses. Turnovers were a huge issue. At Iowa State, they turned it over 3 times, but had been so good at taking care of it since then. Oklahoma races out of the gates with a little help from the defense. In the Big 12 championship, it's 10-0.
Let's take a look at that last play. There's Caleb Kelly. He's the linebacker who blitzes off the edge, and eventually, as he follows the play, picks up the fumble. But notice something else. Kyle Hicks, the running back, he actually had the ball in his inside arm. See right there? That is a no-no. You always want to have the ball in your outside arm so you can use that inside arm as your stiff arm.
No Darius Anderson again for TCU, who was lost in the Oklahoma game, their top running back. And so it'll be Hicks and Alanalua sharing the load today. Back-to-back touchbacks for Austin Seibert. On first down from the 36. In the quick game, here's John Diaz. He breaks a tackle and crosses midfield. Yet another TCU receiver who's been quiet lately that they wanted to get engaged early in this game.
And I think when they've got him matched up one-on-one, which he is right here on the outside, they'd like to try to utilize his size and his hands.
And DR 6'1", 215 pounds. LSU transfer has a first down. And now Hill in trouble, trying to get away from Okoronkwo, and does. To Alanalua, body slammed down by Oklahoma's leading tackler, Emmanuel Beal.
Got Okoronkwo coming off the edge. He's one of the best in the Big 12, and if you're Kenny Hill, you got to step up in the pocket before you get out to the outside. But Alanalua, for a running back, he's got some good hands.
Yeah.
He's big, too.
6'3", 235er down there before the game. You're right, huge.
You like to run some of the Wildcat with him. Oklahoma struggled against West Virginia last week in the Wildcat.
He runs it for the first time and stopped by Amani Bledsoe. They thought that Shewa Olanalua last week running for a career-high 71 yards. Gary Patterson said it was the first time that he ran the way a big back should. Ran like a guy who's 235 pounds should. Kyle Hicks comes back in for 3rd and 7.
This has been the sweet spot for the TCU offense. Lead the Big 12 in 3rd down conversions this season. And it's interesting. Actually, as it gets deeper, 3rd and 8+, they get better.
Kenny Hill, who has the highest completion percentage in the country on 3rd down this year, barks out the signals. Hill throws incomplete. Rager stumbled coming out of his break with the coverage from Parnell Motley. 4th down.
You're going to see Jalen Rager at the top of your screen. He's going to run a little out route, but he just doesn't keep his footing. And look, they played a game here Thursday night, and they obviously have changed out the field since then. And we had spent some time down there on the field. I mean, there's some spots that maybe you think the footing wouldn't be as good as you would assume on a turf field, an artificial surface like this.
I felt it yesterday, so I put spikes in my dress shoes today, and it was a lot better. And Nunez with a line drive punt. Normally one of the best in the country. That was not a very good one. So Oklahoma will have it inside the 20, already leading 10-0. The Heisman frontrunner Baker Mayfield back out there in just a moment. 3rd down and 12. Mayfield quickly outside. They'll need open field tackling. They don't get it. Marquise Brown, 1st down across the 45. A gain of 31 for the first-year JUCO transfer who's really come on.
Well, you can see the miscommunication. You see Nico Small, you see Ridwan Isahaku. Both of them was signaling they needed an additional defender. They were a player short, but Oklahoma took advantage of it. And boy, how good has Brown been as his confidence has grown this season. He's evolved from not just kind of a special teams guy with some speed, but a legitimate deep threat.
Oklahoma replaced D.D. Westbrook. Yeah, they replaced more than 70% of last year's total yards when you combine Westbrook and Pirine and Mixon. They've been able to do it. Play clock winding down. Mayfield gets it off, feeding it to Anderson. On the Anderson with a 1st down gain of 6.
This is when we're talking about this TCU defense. It's been every other game this season besides Oklahoma. I mean, look at the amount of rush yards they were giving up. A lot of that happened in the first half. Just uncharacteristic of a defense that's really been so good all year long. Now, there's a number of differences in that game. Matt Boson was out early. He got ejected in that matchup. He's been a huge factor for this TCU defensive front.
Mayfield quickly gets rid of it to Andrews with a block from Lamb. Tries to turn the corner, finishes forward close to a 1st down. They spot him just short, 3rd and 1.
Typically, you don't see Mark Andrews being the recipient of those bubble screens. Usually when he's out there in space, he's there to help lead block for CeeDee Lamb or Hollywood Brown.
Pretty nice target to have on a quick little bubble, though, huh? 6'5", 254.
He's hard to miss. I don't know how much more yards he's going to be able to get after the catch.
Close your eyes, throw it left. He's probably going to get it. 3rd and 1. They bring Jackson Ewells and Dimitri Flowers into the game. It's Mayfield to sneak it for an Oklahoma 1st down and more. Mayfield to the 38.
This Oklahoma offensive line is massive, and they're one of the best in the country. Got an Outland finalist in Orlando Brown, their left tackle. He's a bona fide 1st round pick coming up probably in next year's draft. He's got some eligibility left, but we'll see. He has to make that decision.
All 5 of those guys starting time prior to this season. Experience, size, one of the best in the country, that unit. On 1st and 10, Mayfield to throw. All day to scan the field. Now the pocket collapses, so he slides up and goes to the sideline for Flowers. 1st down to the 21. To the 1st team all Big 12 fullback.
I call Dimitri Flowers a Swiss Army knife because he can do so many different things, although he's much bigger than that. watch the concentration. This guy can run the football effectively. He can release downfield. He's great in pass protection and run blocking. And he's incredible, and he helps this Oklahoma offense be versatile as far as the different things they can do with the different personnel groups.
Trey Sermon comes in a running back for the first time, joining Anderson. On first down from 21. Mayfield over the middle. That's caught by Sermon. A first down inside the 10. Something Oklahoma was able to do with success the first time around earlier this season.
With that personnel grouping, 2 running backs, a tight end, 2 wide receivers, typically Oklahoma likes to run the football, so kind of a tendency breaker against this TCU defense, utilizing the play action pass off of it. And once they get in the red zone, this is where typically Mark Andrews kind of is that target because of his size and his catch radius.
Lined up to the slot on the left. First and goal for the Sooners. Keep it on the ground. Sermon bounces off initial contact and gets swallowed up. Stopped to the 5 by Bosin and Summers. There's red zone defense for TCU as far as percentage of the time they give up touchdowns once the opponent moves inside the 10. One of the best in the country. Only Wisconsin better in that regard.
Well, typically they're one of the better tackling teams, but again, going back to the last matchup, that's where you saw Rodney Anderson have so much production. He would get into the secondary, and there'd be a number of missed tackles.
Mayfield sets. In zone Andrews. Touchdown Oklahoma. And they've exploded out of the gates on the Horned Frogs again.
How often do you see this? Baker Mayfield under center. Doesn't happen very often. He's going to fake, drop back, and you're just going to see a little short post route by Mark Andrews to the back of the end zone. Everyone's eyes are caught up with the jet sweep fake, the run fake. And there's Mark Andrews just finding that soft spot back and behind the TCU secondary.
Started the game with a 12-play drive that finished in a field goal. Here they go 81 yards in 10 plays and finish it with a touchdown. The key play on the drive, Marquise Brown going 31 yards on 3rd and long. It's finished off with Andrews, and it's all Sooners in the Big 12 championship. Oklahoma in the end zone for the first time. Mark Andrews from the 5 as Baker Mayfield completes all 5 of his throws on that drive. He did a big 3rd down conversion to keep it rolling.
Andrews has 6 receptions in the red zone this season, 5 for touchdowns.
He's had a ridiculous touchdown ratio in his career. Like anytime he touches it, finding the end zone. Still no chance for Kavontae Turpin to bring it back. John Diar's for the 2nd time has it on the out pattern and keeps the legs churning for a first down.
And this is going to be the challenge for Kenny Hill from here on out. He's going to have to take those easy completions to the outside. Oklahoma likes to play off coverage with their cornerbacks. They don't challenge the opponent's wide receivers that often. So he's going to have to make that long throw on a consistent basis on first down if they want to try to move the sticks.
Hill started 4 of 6. Shovel pass coming to Kyle Hicks, who's pulled down by Kenneth Mann. Hicks' first touch since he fumbled it on the first play of the game, and it was scooped and returned for a touchdown.
It's one of those curveballs TCU's offense likes to throw in throughout the course of the game. It was unbalanced. You didn't see an eligible wide receiver on that left side of the field. A little shovel pass, just something that TCU does, trying to give the defense a lot to think about, whether it's personnel, formations, what type of play calls.
This time they put Hill under center. On 2nd and 5 from the 41. They'll throw it for Turpin, too high. Tried to set up Turpin in space. 3rd and 5 for the Horned Frogs.
Played in Cowboys Stadium, the bright lights. Big 12 championship game. You better believe Kenny Hill's adrenaline's rushing right now. A lot of pressure on him. He knows he's got to help get his team back into this game. A lot of time high throws are some of those early jitters in games for quarterbacks.
the best third down passer in the country. Facing a four-man rush. He's got time. He rolls to his right. He needs the 47. He's got it into Oklahoma territory. Tiptoeing the sideline inside the 45. The run of 18 yards for the senior Kenny Hill.
And he's going to have to do this throughout the course of the game, because there's going to be times when no one's open downfield. Oklahoma drops back 7 into coverage, and he's going to have to take off and find ways of making plays with his feet.
Here's Turpin out of the backfield this time. And he gets a short gain. Will Johnson able to fight off of the block. 2nd and 9.
That's what we want to see if you're defensive coordinator Mike Stoops out of Will Johnson. Kept his leverage, meaning he didn't let Turpin really get past him to the outside. Fought through a block to make the play. Stoops calls him the smartest player on this defense. So good at recognizing splits and all the little things to help give their secondary an advantage.
Diar's third reception. It's a block from Jarrison Stewart. Runs through the arm tackle of Trey Norwood. And has a TCU first down and a gain of 15.
John Diar's is a load. I know he's listed as 6'1", 215, but he looks bigger than that down there in the field. And once he gets going, he's tough to bring down.
Hill retreated off play action, running out of time and going down. It's Amani Bledsoe who forced the fumble on the first play from scrimmage. Coming up with a sack. 2nd down.
One of the things Oklahoma does extremely well when rushing the quarterback is they get those high edge pressures. See Caleb Kelly right there? They force them to scramble up into the pocket, and that's where defensive tackles like Amani Bledsoe and some of the others up front can be able to get some of those sacks for them, not necessarily with their push initially, but because of the edge rushers.
In the return to the Big 12 championship game, Oklahoma with the best first quarter in the game's history. 17 points more than anybody in the first quarter ever. Second quarter on the other side. Start of the second quarter, and all Oklahoma through 15 minutes, a 17-0 lead. And Oklahoma fans know all too well they've blown a few leads this year. 3 times they've blown 2-score leads. Now they've won 2 of those. And they lost that Iowa State game after a big lead. Here's a trick play to open the second quarter. The former high school quarterback Desmond White couldn't find anybody open. Able to get back close to the line of scrimmage where DJ Ward brings him down, and it's 3rd and long.
One of the most dynamic players ever at DeSoto High School and in Texas. Some of the reasons why they like to try to design plays, whether it's trick plays, gadgets, things of that nature, to get guys like Desmond White or Devontae Turpin the football in space. They really trust them in their decision making, but also their explosiveness.
Oklahoma brings pressure out of the secondary. Hill throwing for Rager. In the end zone, touchdown. The Horned Frogs needed it, and the true freshman Jalen Rager supplied it.
Just what the doctor called for TCU.
29-yard touchdown to Jalen Rager. Team leading 7th of the season for the co-Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year. And it is Cole Bunce to handle the kicking duties today. Apparently Jonathan Song is okay physically at this point, but they're going to ride Bunce, who's been pretty good the last couple of games.
Oklahoma gambled, and TCU was able to respond. You see Kenny Hill, he sees the pressure. He signals out to Rager to run a fade route to the end zone. That's the Horned Frogs with 6.
For whatever reason, Gary Patterson's teams really all season have gotten off to slow starts and gotten better as the game has gone on. And Coach Patterson's thing is, if we can get this thing into the second half close, you like your chances. They're one of the best in the country after the break.
It's all about the adjustments. Gary Patterson and his defense do a good job kind of settling in, figuring out what offenses are attempting to do.
Short kick here. Marcelius Sutton from the 4. And Sutton won't even reach the 20. Fighting his way across the 15 to the 16-yard line. His drive begins with a Baker Mayfield pass play. Steps up and takes off into open space. Baker Mayfield across midfield. Showing off speed over the 30. A 56-yard run.
It's hard enough to try to stop Rodney Anderson, and then all of a sudden you try to stop this pass attack. There's just not enough guys around the line of scrimmage to account for Baker Mayfield. And look at the speed. If not for the angle of the TCU secondary, I think Mayfield's taking that one to the house. Once again, Baker, he's got something in the oven. He's got something cooking.
Nice. You always have one or two you spend all week thinking of, and then they're always really great.
I'm all out. That's all I got. That's all I got for today.
First down from the 30. Oklahoma trying to answer right back. Here comes Rodney Anderson. He's close to another first down, and we go down to Bruce.
Guys, Baker Mayfield spent most of that TCU drive stalking the Sooner sidelines. Kept on telling his teammates, let's go, we're keeping this up all day. We are doing this all day. Make sure we keep the tempo going. We are running through them all day.
Fifth-year senior from Lake Travis, Texas. Unquestioned leader of that offense. You talked about it off of the top. Rubs some people the wrong way, but if you're wearing crimson, you love every bit of it.
I think if you're a player on this team, you love it too, because you understand that he brings the fight to his opponent, not the other way around. You don't see that many times with an offensive player.
Second down and short. Mayfield steps up, lost the ball, and thankfully for Oklahoma, Drew Samia was there to fall on it. They keep the drive alive. It's third down.
And those Ben Banneker, it's one of the things he excels at. He's got long arms, very good at being able to get to the quarterback, but in that particular case, accurate, almost lethal. He'll get a hand on the football.
He is long, huh?
And he's got a lot of speed too. When you combine Banneker with Bosen, you see why TCU can get a lot of pressure just rushing forward. They don't bring a whole lot of blitz, even though they have early on today.
Oklahoma's had some key third down conversions already in this game. 3rd and 6. That's Mark Andrews. Mayfield scans. Wants Andrews in the end zone, who can't hang on. Coverage from Nico Small, and it's 4th and 6.
Every time you get Mark Andrews in one-on-one coverage, you got to take a shot and give him an opportunity. Nico Small is a 5'10" safety. I mean, it's just tough to be able to try to find a way of getting a hand in it to disrupt anything. Every ball to Baker Mayfield throws seems to be catchable. There's not many times you watch on film throughout the course of the year where he throws a football that's just inaccurate.
Starbird hit from 41 on their first drive. This is from 43. And it snaps a string of 12 makes in a row. But despite the long run from Baker Mayfield, TCU holds up and gets the ball back to the offense in a 2-score game. Second meeting in less than a month. Oklahoma and TCU. It was all Sooners in the first quarter. Horned Frogs trying to yank away some of the momentum here in the second. It looked like this might turn into a rout in a hurry. It was 17-0 Oklahoma before Sonny Cumbie's Horned Frogs were able to convert a 3rd and long for a touchdown. And now they get it back in a 17-7 game. Kenny Hill swings it outside. Avante Turpin steps out of a tackle and runs for a gain of 5 or 6. And very clearly they're finding any way they can to get the ball in the hands of this guy.
You know, in the last matchup between these two teams, Avante Turpin showed a little bit of frustration at times for not getting more touches. A pretty productive day, but clearly you can see early on they know he's their biggest playmaker and he can change this game in a heartbeat.
Gone to him 4 times already. He only had 1 catch over the last 2 games coming in. He's the motion man on 2nd and 4. Kyle Hicks explodes for a first down. Close to midfield for the senior, who's trying to bounce back from that fumble on the first play. Here he goes for 17.
Watch how long Kenny Hill holds this. I mean, it took a while for him to give that football to Kyle Hicks, and I think he forced Amani Bledsoe to commit to him, which then helped open up the hole for Hicks.
And Hicks is a guy who Last year he was honorable mention all conference, was the featured back, more than 1,000 yards. He's dealt with injuries this year though, and dealing with some adversity today, trying to bounce back. Back to him to the short side of the field. And Kyle Hicks again accelerates forward, running with purpose for close to a first down. Obo Okaranko with the tackle. They spot him right at the marker.
Watch him get in this play. It's the football, stretches it, and then he sees the cutback lane. TCU runs a lot of different zone blocking schemes, meaning basically they start in one direction, and it's on the onus of the back to then see the cutback lane and find the hole. Kyle Hicks has tremendous vision.
Right here in Arlington. Taken down less than a yard. Wow, that one was red, but Stephen Parker couldn't get his hand on it, so Desmond White gets a first down. Oklahoma had that thing ID'd from the start, and TCU dodges a bullet.
The past two plays, watch this. He comes off the edge, nearly intercepts this, and if Parker did, that would have been a pick six, no doubt about it. Now it leads to a first down for TCU.
I think Hill saw that, put a little extra on it.
I'm sure he tried to adjust his arm at the last second if he could.
Back to Hicks on a stretch play. Gets the corner. Kyle Hicks close to the 15.
There's some mixed emotions in the crowd. The Oklahoma fans won to hold. Meanwhile, the TCU fans are excited about, once again, a positive game. As you can see right there, it's number 81 Cole Hunt working on Caleb Kelly, and you could maybe make a case there, but our rules expert Mike Pereira saying no, play on.
Mike's with us in Arlington today. Hill pumps one way, looking in zone the other, and finding Cole Hunt, who's crunched with a first down to the 11. That is only the 7th catch of the season for the Rice transfer, but it picks up a TCU first down.
Yeah, but that one had to have hurt. Watch this high-low as Hill works back to him, and not a bad blood between these two teams. Heard Bruce Feldman talk about it before the game.
And then you play him again 3 weeks later. Midway through this second quarter, Horned Frogs on the move. Fake to Hicks, end zone shot. John Diaz adjusting, incomplete. I think he hauled it in, but perhaps was out of bounds when he caught it. And now the officials are coming together. One is already signaled incomplete.
The question's going to be, did he gain possession or control the football and get it knee out? And that looks like that may be a touchdown. Now it's got to be definitive and indisputable.
After review, the receiver got his hands under the football, maintained possession of the ball. It's a touchdown.
Well, it took them a little while, but the Horned Frogs have arrived in Arlington, and we've got a game in the Big 12 championship. Cole Bunce adds the extra point. What a catch from John Diaz. He had to have known it. He was just waiting for the inevitable. The call of a touchdown at a 3-point game. Cole Bunce with another short kick. Jeff Badette's back on this one. Kentucky transfer. The speedster takes it across the 30. There's a flag down. From the 49-yard line, Baker Mayfield and the Sooners open this drive with a Rodney Anderson run. And Anderson looks plenty healthy there to the 41-yard line. Bruce Feldman letting us know that they've had to tape him up a little bit extra. The trainer's looking at him. But he's saying he's good to go back in despite dealing with a left ankle that's bothering him. Mayfield finds Andrews, who's chopped down by Nico Small. That's the first down inside the 30. Small will have to come out with his helmet coming off.
I wouldn't be shocked if Oklahoma didn't try to attack number 16, Michael Downing, who came in to replace Nico Small for a snap.
Remember, TCU's already a man short safety because of Nick Orr, suspended for the first half for his role in the altercation against Baylor last week. Mayfield pulls. Banagoo can't get it. Mayfield crosses the 10, second and short.
And I thought the right tackle, Bobby Evans, might have been a hold as Mayfield made his way around the edge. Had a hand on Banagoo. Look at that. You can clearly see him tugging on his jersey, not letting him go. That was out in the open.
And allowed Mayfield to get 7, second and 3. He pulls again. This time he won't get there. Markel Simmons, who's making a 3rd consecutive start because Nick Orr is suspended for this first half, brings him down and makes it 3rd down.
And watch this one. This is once again Mark Andrews. He's got his arm to the outside on Ty Summers. Hold on to the back of him. I mean, that's 2 in a row.
So 3rd down and 2. Mayfield to throw. End zone. Andrews again. Touchdown, Oklahoma.
And it's all about the play action pass fake. Watch as he sneaks in and behind the soft spot, and watch these guys suck up on the run. And just an open window in the back, and it's too easy, but that's the advantage you have as an offense. When you stay in 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, you still have the threat of running the football, so it makes the play action pass that much more impactful.
So the Sooners convert on 3rd and short as Mayfield finds Andrews for the 2nd time today. Nice response by Oklahoma after TCU climbed back to within 3. Oklahoma with a 24-14 lead, trying to punch its ticket to the college football playoff. TCU, meanwhile, 1 year after finishing 6-7, in search of its first outright Big 12 crown. Turpin still no chance to get his hands on it on a return. Hill goes underneath this time to Jerison Stewart. But a team high 6 catches last week against Baylor. He had 1 over his first 10 games.
And that's kind of how the system works at TCU. I mean, it's kind of a wheel of each guy could end up being the hot hand. It just depends how the game plays out. Sometimes what the defense dictates.
2 minutes left in this first half. TCU will have it to open the second half. Trying to get to within 1 score here. Hill with a great read this time. Saw Bledsoe take the running back. So he pulled it and got a first down to the 48.
We talked about it before. A little bit iffy last time Bledsoe forced Hill to keep the football. This time a little bit more definitive. He's got his eyes on Bledsoe. Bledsoe commits, pulls the football, and then he makes Emmanuel Beal miss downfield for the additional yards.
Minute and a half and counting. Horned Frogs all 3 timeouts. From the 48-yard line against pressure. He boots out the back door. Turns his shoulders. Throws a strike. It's Desmond White. And it's a gain of 9.5.
TCU's strategy right now is going to be to take their time. You talked about how many timeouts they have. They also get the ball coming out of half. So believe me, they do not want to give the ball back to Baker Mayfield with any time on the clock.
Second and short. Ogaranquo comes back in the game. And Hill will throw. Zips one for Rager, incomplete. Motley with the coverage, 3rd and short, right at 1 minute.
It's 2-minute drives. There's a lot of easy completions out there for you. As soft as Oklahoma's secondary is playing.
Only his second incompletion out of his last 15 throws.
The Oklahoma offensive line gets a lot of credit. TCU should get some credit too. These guys have only allowed 17 sacks all season. A good job of protecting Kenny Hill, but it's also been his mobility and making plays with his feet.
But a really good first half today. 16 of 20. He's also run for a couple of big plays. 3rd and short. Against a crowded box, they throw it, and Turpin gets a first down.
That's what I was mentioning earlier on this drive. We saw Caleb Kelby come off the edge, and Kenny Hill ended up keeping the football. He should have thrown that little bubble pass like he just did.
55 seconds, still 2 timeouts for TCU. In a game they trailed 17-0 at one point. On first down from the 40 against a 3-man rush. They'll check it down. Hicks. Kyle Hicks tripped up by Parnell Motley. Couple of big open field tackles on this drive.
And that's what they were missing when Motley was out. They've suffered a number of injuries in this Oklahoma secondary. Jordan Parker's out for the season. Will Johnson missed some time. Stephen Parker missed some time.
Turpin comes into the backfield and swings out. Hill off his back foot towards the end zone. Desmond White is out there. No flags. Oh, there is a flag that came.
There's no doubt about it.
I was wondering
that he tried to get back to the hip of Desmond White. What about that play design? Look at him. Eyes
Pass
only.
interference. Defense number 8. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
That's just too much contact once he got to Desmond White, turning around, disrupting his chance to make a play on the football. Well, what about the play design? They ran that little swing screen earlier to Turpin. This time they run a little pump fake off of it, and they release Desmond White up the sideline.
Of course, in college, the ball not spotted up against the goal line. Instead, right at the 10. 15 seconds, 1 timeout.
And again, 2 timeouts at this point for TCU.
Hill on a quarterback draw. And stopped by Will Johnson. They'll use a timeout with 7 seconds. So now 1 timeout remaining. Cole Bunce comes on. Sophomore from San Jose who's taken over the job. Doors opened by an injury to Jonathan Song, and he's performed well. And so he's kept it even with Song healthy. From 26. He makes it a 1-score game. Good drive for the Horned Frogs. It started all the way back at the 25. 24-17. The score at halftime. We get you to Rob Stone in Los Angeles for the State Farm halftime show. 24-17 after a half, and we welcome you back inside AT&T Stadium. Pretty much even over the course of those first 30 minutes. It looked like Oklahoma might run away with it, leading 17-0 after a quarter, but TCU came charging back. And really, Brady, with the exception of the scoop and score on the first offensive play for TCU, this thing's been dead even.
Yeah, the first matchup was a tale of 2 halves. This one so far has been a tale of 2 quarters. Oklahoma jumping out to that 17-0 lead. TCU then responding in the second quarter where they've scored all their points. Now they're going to have an opportunity getting the football out of half to tie it up. But really, it's been the quarterback play to me. Both quarterbacks going for 2 touchdowns and leading their team in rushing. Pretty good play by both guys.
And Baker Mayfield will have to wait a little bit before he gets his hands on it here in the second half. Kenny Hill will take it on the first drive. Should have a good second half in store for you here on Fox. Day that begins with a Big 12 championship, wraps up with a Big 10 championship. Once again, it's over Turpin's head. Let's go down to Bruce Feldman.
Joe, Lincoln Riley's biggest frustration was tackling. He goes, they're getting too many yards after the catch. He said, we're not wrapping up. He goes, we got to play better on defense. I like what we've done on offense. We just got to keep going. I told these guys it's going to be a 60-minute fight. This is a championship game. This is why you come to Oklahoma.
24-17 after a 17-0 for Lincoln Riley and the Sooners. After the first quarter, looked like it might be another rout, but it's tight as Kenny Hill and the Horned Frogs get ready to open the second half. Heavy pass in that first half. About 2/3 pass for TCU. And they'll look to throw it to open the second half. Downfield shot. It's broken up by Parnell Motley as they went for Jalen Austin. Petros Papadakis, you talked to Gary Patterson.
Yeah, Joe, Coach Patterson likes the way that his team bounced back, obviously, but they're having a lot of trouble covering the tight end Andrews. He's concerned about that. Third down, he wants his team on the field on offense, off the field defensively, but he was very positive about the Frogs' performance.
And look, that's just a tough matchup for any team. And I don't know that TCU has anyone in the back end to be able to cover Mark Andrews one-on-one. They're going to have to devote 2 defenders to him.
A fake to Hicks and a throw to Diar's, who can't bring it in. Trey Norwood jarred it out of there after it hit off Diar's hands. 3rd and 10.
It was a high throw, but it had to be. Okoronkwo was in the way. It was right in between Diar's and where Kenny Hill was standing, so he had to put the ball up high. That was the only shot they had of completing that pass. Now in 3rd and long, an area that, look, TCU has been better than anyone in the Big 12, but only converting about 30% on the year.
Oklahoma's defense looking for a 3 and out to start the second half. And with a 4-man rush, Hill heaving one downfield. Nobody out there, and it's 4th down. Again, they were looking for Jalen Austin. They went to him twice on this first drive. A 3 and out for the Horned Frogs.
And these are some of the inconsistencies that you see with Kenny Hill, whether it's throughout the course of the game or the course of the season. He'll have times when he looks fantastic. You look at him in the first half, he was, what, 19 of 25, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and leading the team in rushing. And then we come out, and we've got 3 straight incompletions in the last one. Jalen Austin didn't even know the football was being thrown to him.
Short punt, great field position for Oklahoma. CeeDee Lamb makes the fair catch. First drive of the second half for the Sooners. Rodney Anderson motions out. Mayfield looks the other way. And a man comes open. It's Michael Jones on the first play of the second half. Jones goes 55 yards for an Oklahoma touchdown.
About how much time Baker Mayfield had in the pocket. He was looking to the left, waiting for Michael Jones to get open, slow off the football, but then he comes back inside off the return route, and just a mismatch. Why Matt Bosin is covering Michael Jones is a mystery to everyone.
Yeah. And for Jones, his first touchdown of the season. Oklahoma's back in front by 2 scores. Their second play today of more than 50 yards. This one comes on their first play of the second half. Jones to the end zone. The Sooners up by 2 scores. Now, TCU had gone 7 games in a row without allowing a touchdown in the second half. And on the first play of the second half here in the Big 12 championship, they give up their first touchdown since the first week of October.
And that can't be the coverage that Gary Patterson won on that side of the field. Matt Bosin, who's a defensive end, covering a wide receiver out in space. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Another touchback. Here's Kyle Hicks on the ground. Getting a few. Kenneth Murray, true freshman linebacker, with a stop. I said 27 runs out of the 40. It's 27 passes out of the 40 for the Horned Frogs, which is bucking a trend from most of this season when it's been the most run-heavy offense under Sonny Cumbie.
This is a running formation. You can see the unbalanced set. All the eligible wide receivers, with the exception of the running back, to one side.
2nd and 7. They dump it off for Hicks. Needed 1 block. Instead makes the man miss himself. And Kyle Hicks runs down the sideline with a flag down. He stays on his feet and takes it inside the 20, but a flag back around the 40. 56 yards, but I would guess a big chunk of it is going to get wiped away.
Holding. Offense. Number 81. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Let's go back and look at that formation. We talked about it's unbalanced. See how he's covered up? That typically, once he's in line, that means that someone can't go downfield once they release for the pass, or at least the ball can't be completed downfield. That's why it said it's a running formation. But a screen, that's okay. So they end up finding Kyle Hicks to the weak side, and you end up seeing on the right side of your screen the hold by Hunt.
Mike Pereira says good call. Still is a first down, but instead of inside the 20, it's right at midfield. Hill goes through his progressions, waiting for somebody to come open. Nobody does, so he runs for 3 or 4. Dylan Famatau with a stop, second down.
A positive gain. I mean, that's the biggest thing. He's not forcing anything. Nothing was there. Using his athletic ability to find space and get a positive gain, which has helped them on third down. TCU is 4 of 6 on the day, and it's in part because they've continually had positive gains on first and second down, put them in third and manageable.
Yeah, the 3 and out that they started the second half with began with 2 incompletions, and they were sitting third and long. Hill kept it, bounced off one man, stiff-armed another, and got close to the marker inside the 45.
Talked in the first half about Kenny Hill and some of these zone reads. In this case, you can see Okoronkwo clearly waiting for Shewo Alanalua. This Oklahoma defensive front is starting to sniff some of this out.
Here's another third and manageable. A bit of the left in this case. And they do with Hicks straight ahead. And Kyle Hicks right at the marker. It'll depend on the spot.
How close was he? Let's take a look. Looks like his forward progress has stopped right there with Will Johnson. Huh? Keeps driving. It's going to be close either way. TCU's going for it.
4th down and inches for the Horned Frogs. They boot Kenny Hill. Okoronkwo is waiting for him. It'll depend on the spot. Parnell Motley and Obo Okoronkwo knock him out of bounds, and Oklahoma slams the door as TCU gets a little bit cute on 4th and inches.
And this, to me, is something I hate. Look, you've got an open gap here, an open gap here. I know they're covered up, but you can find a way of getting yourself less than a yard. Why take the football back to then run a boot? You're not fooling anyone in that case. You're losing ground to try to gain ground. This Oklahoma defense has too much team speed, whether it was Okoronkwo or Motley.
Needed a foot.
Just don't like the play call. How about the game that Motley's had so far today?
Yeah.
Open field tackles. We see him recovering right then to stop the conversion.
Oklahoma trying to make it hurt. How many times do you see teams sudden change, take shots in the middle part of the field? See what Oklahoma goes with on 1st and 10 from the 40. Play conservatively. Anderson with a big hole off the right side for 8 or 9.
Look at the first half. Oklahoma was extremely balanced as far as their play calling, running and passing the football. Those runs in the first half start to weigh on you in the second half with that big offensive line.
On 2nd and short, they'll throw it deep. Marquise Brown behind the defense for an Oklahoma touchdown. And just like that, the Sooners have broken it open.
After the big first half that Mark Andrews had, watch the attention that he grabs in the TCU secondary. He basically ate up every defender in the middle of the field. Watch what happens. He's going to drop back. Everyone's going to drop back. It's going to be a little hesitation. and then beating Isahaku downfield. And the problem for Isahaku was once he turned to look back after Brown got by him, you're never going to be able to catch up. You got to go find that wide receiver, get back to his hip, and then look to find the football.
And he flashes that golden smile, the grill. The guy that Gus Johnson nicknamed Hollywood Brown. No chance for Isahaku to keep up with a guy with legendary speed who's got a long touchdown. Baker Mayfield and the Sooners with a 3-score lead. Just like that, the Sooners have exploded to a 38-17 lead, and Baker Mayfield has matched the Big 12 championship game record. Al Roberson against Oklahoma back in 2003 had 4 himself, and we still got a long way to go in this one.
Something tells me he's not done yet. Got a long day left in the kitchen for the Baker.
You said you weren't going there again, but you did it. I didn't like this one as much. Touchback for Turpin. So TCU starts from its own 4. Play action. Nobody open at first. Now into double coverage and picked off by Will Johnson. Oklahoma takes it right back, taking advantage of the special teams.
And these are just the back-breaking decisions that you cannot make. He's going to eye up the quarterback the entire time. And this play-action fake and the entire play just took so long to develop that it allowed Will Johnson to get his 2nd interception of the season. Look at the awareness, too, to get his feet down, go up and get the additional yards. The 5th-year senior out of Baltimore, Maryland.
So Mayfield and the offense threatening to turn this thing into a rout now. John Diaz said no chance. First down and 10 from the 17-yard line. Anderson leveled by Ty Summers. 2nd down coming up.
Ty Summers has just had a solid year for TCU, and he's so versatile. Put him on Mike linebacker. He's played as an outside edge rusher at times this season due to some of their injuries. Junior out of San Antonio, Texas.
He's a quarterback there in high school.
A lot of quarterbacks on this TCU defense. And look at it. I think it helps them recognize different concepts, what an offense is trying to do, allows them to play faster.
Anderson blown up in the backfield by Matt Boson. First team all-conference in his first year as a starter for the Horned Frogs.
What a game last week for him, huh?
Man.
5.5 sacks versus Baylor.
It's a half sack shy of the NCAA record.
They're going to need him here on 3rd down. The Oklahoma coaching staff talked about him before the game, saying he's just relentless. The guy never gives up on plays. He's the type of guy you got to bring your lunch pail for, you know. You're going to be there all day.
Third and 19. And they'll run it with Anderson. Settle for a field goal attempt.
And that's a good stop by the TCU defense. Now, it came via a little bit of help getting a penalty, but all of a sudden give the football to Oklahoma, this dynamic offense, basically in the red zone. You'll settle for a field goal.
Target from 40. Right down the middle. So 41-17 lead for the Sooners, led by the Heisman favorite Baker Mayfield. I wonder who Brady's Heisman hopeful is. Third quarter just like the first quarter. 17 for Oklahoma, nothing for TCU. Joe Davis, Brady Quinn, Bruce Feldman, Petros Papadakis, and Mike Pereira.
Kenny Hill's got to get back on track. 3 of 8 for 51 yards and interception since the half.
A touchback, and Hill in the offense will start at the 25. We talked about it going to break. Heisman discussion. There isn't much of one at this point, is there?
Yeah, you said hopeful. Isn't there hopeful about it? I mean, I think it's Baker Mayfield's at this point. There's no doubt the way he's played this season. I got Mayfield as number one. What Bryce Love has been able to battle through with an ankle injury for half the season and still putting up so much production for Stanford. He's number two, and Saquon Barkley, you know, obviously limited the second half of the year, but I think this is going to look very similar to Bruce.
Bruce?
Actually, Brady is not. Yes, I agree. Baker's running away with the Heisman. The one thing that's interesting for me is who's going to be third. I got Bryce Love second. As much as I love Saquon Barkley, and you know I do.
He does.
If Kerryon Johnson has a big game today, or if Jonathan Taylor runs all over Ohio State, they could get in my third spot.
Okay. Throwing sideline John Diar's on the money for a first down.
Well, again, I think I attribute their struggles at times or inconsistencies on defense for Oklahoma to some of the injuries. I mean, they've sustained injuries at every level. I mean, Matt Romar, he was a key piece up front. Jordan Parker at cornerback. They've had a bunch of players miss time. You know, when Chance Sylvie came in and versus Iowa State, I mean, he struggled. I mean, and that's going to be expected when you've got a young player who's only a sophomore, hasn't played a ton of football. These offenses in the Big 12 put so much pressure on you defensively, not only just to get lined up, but a lot of times you're playing on islands, plays are extended, you'll cover guys longer. It's tough duty.
Mike Stoops is a popular guy for Oklahoma fans to point at when things go wrong for the defense, but this guy's doing a heck of a job when you consider the things that he's gone through with the injuries they've had and what you're facing week in and week out. You look at their conference rankings in defensive stats, they're in the top half in just about everything. Kyle Hicks brought down by Emmanuel Beal.
Emmanuel Beal was there, but Parnell Motley came flying up at the cornerback position to set the edge and basically turn back Hicks to Beal. Can't say enough about this young man, the way he's played so far today.
Brings his third quarter to a close. Oklahoma with a repeat of the first quarter, taking control of this Big 12 championship game and sending us to the fourth. Back in the 2017 Big 12 championship on Fox, presented by AT&T. Back and forth this game is gone, but two of the three quarters dominated by Oklahoma. 17-0 in the first and in the third. And they've got a solid grip on this one as we start the fourth. Joe Davis and Brady Quinn. Third down and long for Kenny Hill in this offense. Hill flushed out of the pocket. Can't find anybody open. And so gets it across midfield, but that's all. You consider going for it on fourth down at this point?
I mean, you'd like to if you want to stay competitive, although the field position and how this Oklahoma offense has played this year, you're going to see TCU come out and punt. But in my opinion, there's not enough time left. You got to value every possession. Kind of wish we would have at least seen them try to go for it.
TCU on 4th and 17. Waving the proverbial white flag here. Sending it away with Nunez. TCU unable to do what Oklahoma did successfully earlier in this half. That's a touchback. Baker Mayfield and the Sooners minutes away from probably punching that ticket to the college football playoff. Arlington, Texas. Boy, what a scene this is for the Big 12 championship game.
I'm glad it's back. I know there's been some conversation that this had the potential to play out the Big 12 champion because they have to play the additional game, and it looks like Oklahoma would have been a shoo-in if they didn't have to play.
But Trey Sermon on first down.
You know, there's years like in 2014, right? The first year we had the playoff where there was co-champions, and then they didn't have that playoff game to determine that. And maybe the College Football Playoff Committee that year had a hard time determining between the two, so they didn't take either. So when it comes down to it, I think it's always better to have that 13th game. To be quite honest, I don't know how you couldn't say that the Big 12 has a more truer champion than any conference, because they all play each other, and then the top two teams score off again in the Big 12 championship. Tell me what other conference in the Power 5 is doing that.
You're right, though. Kind of darned if you do, darned if you don't. Sermon, good patience. Good strength. First down into TCU territory. 18 yards for the true freshman out of Georgia.
And he is a load, 6 foot, 222 pounds. See why early on this season they tried to get Trey Sermon a bunch of touches. Heck, they even let him throw the football at times. He's got a halfback pass in there. It's just a stacked group of talented, skilled players at Oklahoma.
Can anybody slow these guys down?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm being honest with you. It doesn't matter who goes in the playoffs. I know people think that this Oklahoma team in the Big 12 that they don't play defense. No, these offenses are that prolific. They're that difficult to stop when you look at all the different things that they put in front of you, and you combine that with Baker Mayfield and his high level of play as things get a little bit chippy.
And credit to Mike DeFee and this crew, though, as you see him laying the law down. Credit to him, though, right? I mean, for the way this crew has handled a game that had a chance to be chippy.
I met with him before the game in the locker room, and he was intent on keeping control of this game. He knew what happened last time, and they've done a terrific job. And I'll tell you, their entire crew has done a great job today. So was replay. We've only had one review on a really necessary one, so a really complimentary effort by the officials.
Mike, how do you get through security with those guns? I mean, how do they let that happen there?
Well, you know, he works hard at it, and you know, it's like I calculate, but I think he takes so much pride in this that, you know, and it really shows in the leadership of his crew. I have to tell you, this is the first time in Big 12 championship history that they brought a whole crew that worked together all year. And to me, their performance today, I think it showed.
In the past, it used to be all-stars.
All-stars. It was all-stars versus a crew that had worked 11 games together. When you do that, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you cover for each other. Terrific job.
Another good run for Trey Sermon. Oklahoma with a first down at the 40 or at the 35. Sermon again. Punishing run across the 30. Take a look at our expectation-shattering drive of the game, sponsored by Buick. And really, it's a 3-play stretch where this game turned.
Yeah, they have the 4th and inches, and instead of just running a quarterback sneak, they try a naked boot, and Oklahoma, the ensuing drive, is able to capitalize. The big touchdown pass to Hollywood Brown.
And I say turn, but really that's when the thing was put on ice. And Oklahoma had a 2-score lead at that point. TCU had a chance to drive down and cut it to a touchdown, and instead 2 plays later they trailed by 3 scores.
Coming into this game, Oklahoma had 104 plays of 20-plus yard games, and that's unheard of. And this offense is almost averaging like 9 yards on gained first downs. I mean, it's ridiculous to think what they've been able to accomplish this year. And even when you take into account having to play TCU, the best defense in the Big 12, twice.
Third down and short. Kind of drive here that old linemen love, grinding that clock, keeping it on the ground. All 8 plays have been runs. Sermon again. But Traven Howard, in what is going to be a losing effort, has been spectacular. 15 tackles for the TCU linebacker.
And the guy's just got so much heart. I mean, he's 6'1", 213 pounds. That's the size of most safeties. He's played linebacker the entire year. He's a tackling machine. He's incredibly athletic, a sideline-to-sideline guy chasing down the football. I mean, you can't say enough about the season that he's had, really what he's meant to this TCU defense since he got to Fort Worth.
4 tackles than anybody else under Gary Patterson. 4th down and 1. They keep the offense out there. Hand it to Sermon for a first down. And Lincoln Riley doused is the first coach, the youngest coach to take his team to a conference championship game. You know, he'll be only the 5th coach in FBS history to get 12 wins in a debut season and a chance at 2 more. in the playoff. Chris Peterson, Tom Herman, Larry Coker, Brett Bielema, the group that he joins as they start to run the clock out.
Incredible to think what he's been able to accomplish, and as well as Baker Mayfield. Over the course of his career at Oklahoma, he's going to go down as one of the more prolific passers in their school's history, but the way he performed, I mean, the young man just wins.
Fueled by all the times he's been told he's too small, too slow, not this, not that. Goes all the way back to the days he used to lose the family games of horse out in the driveway to his brother and his mom and his dad, and then his days in junior high where he had to crow hop it just to get the ball downfield. Fueled by all those times. And here he is with a third Big 12 title. Now all that's left, the details. Oklahoma has the college football playoff in its sights.
And for TCU, it may feel like a disappointing season, but coming from where they were just a year ago, a dramatic improvement. This is a team that's still got some youth and a team to look out for in the future. But obviously, heartbreak and disappointment for a school that's just down the road.
Baker Mayfield in the return to the Big 12 championship game does what he's been doing his whole Oklahoma career. 4 touchdowns through the air. And a third consecutive Big 12 title. He'll present the hardware to the Sooners on the field here at AT&T Stadium in just a moment. Stick around. The Sooners are champions of the Big 12, and we've got more post-game coverage coming up. Back here in Arlington, and a trophy that was made in Oklahoma will head back to Oklahoma for the presentation down to Petros.
All right, it is time to hand out some hardware, ladies and gentlemen. Your most outstanding player for the 2017 Big 12 Championship, quarterback Baker Mayfield. Baker, what can you say about the year this team has had and what you guys have put together?
Unbelievable team. You know, we have great coaches, great players. We've been through a lot of ups and downs, and we stuck together through it all. That's what I'd say is most special about it.
Now, you've thrown for over 70%, over 40 touchdowns. Have you done enough to win the Heisman Trophy?
I'm not worried about that. I'm going for a national title.
Ladies and gentlemen, to present the Big 12 Championship Trophy, Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby.
Congratulations, Lincoln. On behalf of all 10 members of our conference, you put together a great, great football season. Good luck in the postseason.
Coach, you've been through a lot in your first year. Talk about the resiliency of this team and what you guys can do going forward.
Well, we said it a lot. You know, early in the season, we weren't good at many things, but we're good at winning football games. That's what you do at Oklahoma, and this is a special moment, All right, so proud of these guys. We're going to enjoy this one here tonight, and then we got bigger things to come.
How do you start to prepare for the championship? When does that begin?
After we celebrate this one.
You enjoy it, Coach. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for your 2017 Big 12 champions, the Oklahoma Sooners. Joe.
All right, Petros, I'm just wondering when The Rock and Steve Austin are going to take the stage.
Oh, just incredible. I can't even see him down there with all the confetti.
So the Sooners, by blanking TCU in the first, blanking TCU in the third, and exploding in both those quarters, control this one handily and win the Big 12 championship. Their third in a row. It was fun having the Big 12 championship game back. 41-17 the final. We'll get you back to Rob Stone in Los Angeles for more post-game coverage right after these messages.